right, everybody, the show's about to start. Y'all better hurry up and file on in. File on in. Camo, the videos are all lined up and ready to go. Just let me know when you're ready. Take your time. Prism is in the house. Madison Goldman in the house. It's going to be a big show. We doing this. All right, Cyber Dreams, Columbus Hill, Jenny B. I see y'all. Jenny, you're right. Camo likes to run that late shift. You are so important in the house. Cyber Dream, I appreciate your comments. I appreciate you being a part of the channel. You better believe it. All right, I'm glad everybody's here. While Camo gets ready to come up, I'm gonna break something down here. A young man today, well, you know, he expressed his feelings. He called me. What did he call me? I forgot what he called me. Let me look on my page. He called me something weird. Hey, what did he call me? But I also want to show you ladies who you get to choose from. Here we go, community real quick. Okay. Welcome to the stage, Camo.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
All right. Let me turn this music down so they can hear you. What is good, Camo?
Good. Not too much, just we started a little late. I said 1900, but you said I don't know what happened. Maybe the timing got messed up. Maybe you ain't catch it.
Wait, is it 1900 7 p.m.?
Yeah.
And I said 7 p.m. PST,
Oh,
Pacific time,
I
right?
didn't see that. I thought you said it because it's 10 p.m. where I'm at.
Oh, see. I tried to. That's why. That's why I confirmed it. I said 7 p.m. But
I must didn't notice that part because you was like, "Is it 7?" Right? And I was like, "Yeah, that's what it means. Like 1900 is 7." But it's all good. Like I just got some other things done before, but I got some time for you. It's cool.
that's cool. I need to talk. Something's got on. I got something on my mind. Somebody
What's up?
called me a lame today. Remember?
Yes.
And I want to put them up on the screen. I want to get everybody's opinion. This guy called me a lame. I just want to get everybody's thought in the chat. This man called me a lame today. And he hurt my feelings. He hurt my feelings. I mean, what are your thoughts, Camo? I mean, what is everybody's thoughts on this dude?
I'm just gonna go off the comment section, and I don't know who said it, but someone said he looks like the Manosphere. So I think I'm gonna go. I think I would go with that, actually.
Yeah, well, I got a little surprise before we get into the main part of the show. Let me go back here, pause this for a minute, and let me. This is him. Let's listen to him perform, people.
Kisses on your butt, feel like heaven, we were taking it slow. Yeah. Tangle in the sheets until the even there was nowhere to go. Yeah. We went days learning each other's shades, tracing.
Isn't he talented? I mean,
what in the world?
And I mean, you're right. This is a perfect example of the manosphere where they want to ridicule people, but they are just setting themselves up for being ridiculed. I mean, they ain't had. I mean, look at them. And the thing is that if they want to play that,
how, can you get us a short context of what actually brought this on?
Well, Jandarian was roasting. I went into Razor Razor's room because I needed to roast and toast Austin because he was in there lying. And Jay Darian was in there talking smack to me. Then he went into another room and he was talking smack about me. Then he came to the community panel and then he would call me a lame. You a lame. And here he is right now in front of us, people.
So he's one of Austin's sugar daddies.
Yeah, who? Oh man, I don't know what he is. I think he's not that much. He looks older, but I don't think he's that much older.
It don't matter. Like Austin has like about what about 5,500, 55,000, 100,000 sugar daddies over there.
That's right. They tipping him up.
They paying him to wear hoochie shorts and
be half naked, be taking bathroom pics.
Naked, show them how to shower. Watch to show them. I guess they got like a Starbucks fetish, so he does that for them. He pretty much is a cam girl.
Yeah, he is a cam girl. That's that's well said. Let me get some shout outs out the way. Heathen Queen's in the house. Just Ask Char is in the house. Where's My Money is in the house. Mr. Rucker Mama is with the 304 is in the house. We have Orlando's is in the house. The Red Pill Man is in the house. Madison Goldman's in the house. Bridget is in the house. We have, let's see, who else is up in here? Columbus Hill is in the house. You Are So Important is in the house. Cyber Dreams is in the house. Prism is in the clouds. We doing this. We are doing this. Camo, just let me know how you want to roll. Just say, DJ, play that music whenever you want it.
You can, as a matter of fact, any of it, because I'm a little tired because it is late here, so I'm gonna need, a wingman, I guess, or a wing sister. So if anybody want to come up, including Manasseh, it'll be good because tonight we talking about you and, some passport bros want to be in there, and some of your feminine fit and friendly ladies of no color is going to be on there tonight too. So anybody is welcome.
Yeah, I mean, come on, rep your crew,
Maybe
crew.
You can help us explain some of this hypocrisy, because I'm really trying to understand, what it is that we're missing out on in some club or whatever it is that you got. Where is that, somebody choosing sides and those things. So if you can explain some of these things, then it would be a little bit easier.
Exactly. Basically, if you can red-splain some of what's going on, that'd be appreciated. In the house, Puka Fella Records. All right.
Somebody said this an attempt at R&B. No, I think that's an attempt to try to take Taylor Swift's spot. That's what that was. That was a little bit of colorless pop.
JT's in the house. Oh yeah, they're coming up in here. They want to see what Camo got to say. Yeah, the famous Camo, roasting and toasting the red pillars from left to right. From left to right.
You know what? I don't even want to call it roasting no more, because it's not. It's been like 10 years of roasting. Like now, it's just clown stuff. So like we, as as the Queen Cynthia G say, clown-ish. So what we're gonna do is, we're moving on to the next level of trying to figure out what it is that you're trying to sell us. Like that's what I want to know. I want to know how these men is making millions from all these men that still don't have any women after like 10 years of dating.
Exactly. I mean, it's funny because they talk all this smack and they ain't got nobody. Damn, I sound good tonight. I sound great tonight. Let's
okay. Somebody in the chat, Puka Fella Record said it's Hoochie Daddy Shorts. I'm okay. I mean, I don't think the ladies would be upset if the Hoochie Daddy Shorts wasn't being worn by men with big butts and big hips.
Let's see what else we got up in here. Let's see. I thought I had a nice little warm-up video. Yeah. Okay, there's 34 people up in here. Let's get the show started. People will come in.
Okay, let's start off. We'll start off with the original Godfather, Mr. Peterson.
Dr. Jordan Peterson.
Jordan Peterson. Let Jordan Peterson tell us about dating.
Okay, so Dr. Jordan C. Peterson's gonna break it down for us, folks.
Want the horror of failure or the certainty of failure? The horror of potential failure or the certainty of failure? Because if you don't do this, you will fail. Now, it'll be put off, but it will absolutely.
I think it starts at what? 1 hour, 24 minutes.
Oh, that's right. You told me 1 hour and 34 minutes or something?
1 hour, 24 minutes.
Got it.
1:24:04 to be exact.
Oh, I forgot you was in the military. You guys are precise.
Just a little attention to details. I got you.
134.
1:24:04.
Oh, what? Okay, 1:24.
Yes, Sis Southern Belle. Body, yada, yada. Yes. Body, yada, 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 yada. They be walking, they be walking with those hoochie shorts on, and those big butt cheeks just be jigging. Body, yada, 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 yada.
All right, Kimberly Boone is in the house. We have Madison Goldman in the house. Bukafella Records. Sutton Bay is in the house. Heathen Queens in the house. We let's do this. Let's do this. Here we go.
But
What
more
do you mean
of it
by
is,
that, Dr. Peterson?
well, if a girl plays boys games, she's admired by the girls and the
Go
boys.
back
If
a little
boys,
bit so
boy
you.
plays
I
girl games.
want the people to see, the king, the most desired, in all of his submissiveness to this older, pale gentleman, and the question that he asked, and what he thought he was going to get, the answer that he thought he was going to get, but he didn't get the answer that he thought he was going to get. So I needed to start when he asked the question about the women in college and why they don't want to date men that don't go to college and all that. Like, I needed to start at the question.
Got it. Okay, so let me start it right around.
Because I think it is actually 124.04, I believe.
Okay, 124.04. Perfect.
You see the recent article, I think a professor at NYU named Scott Galloway, I believe his name was, and he talked about how that there is a mating crisis going on in the Western world. And one of the reasons why he brought it up was that, in the typical college and university, 60% of them is female, 40% of it is male. And a lot of the college-age females or college graduates who are females, they only want partners who are also college graduates. So have you seen an article? And then what are your thoughts about a mating crisis?
Well,
what seems
to be happening is that if male enrollment falls below a certain percentage, and it looks like it's something like 40%, then the females start not going too. And that's not surprising. I mean, really? Of course. How many people meet their prospective mates in university or college? Pretty much everyone who goes that route. So it's not surprising that would happen with young people. And the fact that male enrollment is declining it's a shocking indictment of the education system in general. And the failure of boys all the way through the education system is the same thing, the increasing failure of boys. So, I thought that part of it might be that girls will play boys' games, but boys won't play girls' games. So there's a bit of that going on with boys themselves, I think. But more
what do you mean by
that,
Dr. Peterson?
Well, if a girl plays boys' games, she's admired by the girls and the boys. But if a boy plays girl games, well, he's not necessarily admired by the girls or the boys, right?
That's true.
Now, I don't mean that boys shouldn't play with girls or something stupid like that. Yeah. That isn't what I mean. I'm trying to figure out this enrollment issue and what's going on, and obviously girls, for whatever reason, are being encouraged to value their education in a way that boys aren't, and that's partly marketing and messaging as well.
I don't know if I 100% agree with that. What are your thoughts on that, Camo?
It's 100% a goddamn lie. Like, that's what it is, because this was, now mind you, this was 1 year to this month exact, I think, that this interview took place. I think it probably was either maybe a little bit before, a little bit after the Kitten Hills passed away. Mm-hmm. And so it's a year later, and enrollment for women in college has increased significantly, and enrollment for men in college continue to decline, but women are still going to college. So what he's saying is that if men stop going to college, women will stop going to college. He must be talking to his community. It has to be, because that has never been a problem in our community, meaning that most of our men don't go to school, and our women do go to college, and goes to college more than any other group in this country. So I don't know who he's talking to, which also lets me know that this the black guy that's actually doing asking the questions and doing the interviews, he's just I don't know what he's doing either, because none of that has anything to do with him unless he's living in a white society, in a white world or something. I don't know how that benefits him. So, but there will be no pushback at all. The submissiveness is there all the way. There will be no pushback at all. But we can continue.
Girls are taught fairly consistently now that they should be their best self, and the world needs more female power, and so on and so forth. And that's probably true. But
I wouldn't call it the world needs more female power. I think it's more like, well, women have realized that they're going to have to fend for themselves. That's how I see it.
Underlying message there is, well, instead of boy power and man power, not along with, but instead of.
Yeah.
Because, if women ran the world, there'd be no wars. It's like, yeah, right. Yeah, right. You really think that? It's like, how dim.
I think there would be a lot less wars.
Possibly be to believe that. It's
so something else I've been hearing, Dr. Peterson, a lot of young men have been sharing with me, and I'm not sure how much you've heard of it or experienced it. They've been sharing.
Now, this is the most important part right here that I need the audience to listen to, because you're gonna hear this question, and then you're gonna hear this man of no color explain to him what his question, to give him an answer. Now, I don't know much about the Kitten and Heels, because I didn't really follow him like that, but what I'm hearing is that these two men share the same ideology. But what you're going to notice is that the information that this man of no color puts out for his women and his community is significantly different than what men of color puts out to their community, and to be exact, black men. Go ahead, let it roll.
The average woman has no desire for the average male, and that because of things like social media, online dating, things along those lines, as well as just some of the female empowerment, where a lot of women have this is what they say, an elevated sense of self, that now they feel like they're above a lot of these average males, which also contributes to a disparity between young adults being able to connect and form meaningful relationships.
Yeah, well, women are more picky in their mate choices than men, especially sexually. That's the case in every culture. It's not surprising, because women have more at stake sexually than men do, per episode, because men don't get pregnant, obviously. And so that female pickiness is that's the case. That's definitely true. Whether it's worse now or not, I doubt if it is. I would say to young men who are irritated at women is, if you're irritated at women, as a class of creature, there's something wrong with you, because they're right. You're wrong.
What did he say? Hold on, pause it again.
Right.
He said what? Say it again, Mr. Peterson.
Something else I've been hearing, Dr. Peterson, a lot of young men have been sharing with me, and I'm not sure how much you've heard of it or experienced it. They've been sharing that, that they feel as though the average woman has no desire for the average male, and that because of things like social media, online dating, things along those lines, as well as just some of the female empowerment, where a lot of women have this is what they say, an elevated sense of self, that now they feel like they're above a lot of these average males, which also contributes to a disparity between young adults being able to connect and form meaningful relationships.
Yeah, well, women are more picky in their mate choices than men, especially sexually. That's the case in every culture. It's not surprising, because women have more at stake sexually than men do, per episode, because men don't get pregnant, obviously. And so that female pickiness is that's the case. That's definitely true. Whether it's worse now or not, I doubt if it is. I would say to young men who are irritated at women is, if you're irritated at women, as a class of creature, there's something wrong with you, because they're right. You're wrong. If it is. I would say to young men who are irritated at women is, if you're irritated at women, as a class of creature, there's something wrong with you, because they're right. You're wrong. That's the case. That's definitely true. Whether it's worse now or not, not. I doubt if it is. I would say to young men who are irritated at women is, if you're irritated at women, you know, as a class of creature, there's something wrong with you, because they're right. You're wrong. They're right.
You can let
Not-
it keep playing, because he's going to add on some things, and I believe he's going to make a statement also about the single motherhood.
Pick you. If they're not picking you, it's because they're right.
Wow.
Now, that might get, I know that's a terrible thing to say, and I know perfectly well, it wasn't like I was particularly successful with girls when I was young, you know, so I know what that rejection is like. I know what that fear is like. I don't know it as well as some men know it, because I wasn't rejected outright. But what you have to understand is that, what do you expect from women? If you got pregnant because you had sex, you'd be pretty damn choosy too. So, you know, clue in a bit. And then, well, don't they find you attractive? Well, maybe you're not. Like, have you paid attention to how you dress? Do you have a plan?
What do you say? What do you say? But didn't the Kitten in Heels say that women without that are single mothers, or women that have children, lose value? So they shouldn't be picky, right? So what I'm trying to put together is, if these two men share the same ideology, what happened? Did Kevin just pick through what he wanted to benefit him, you know, or the men that listen to his audience, to make them feel good, and then, you know, threw the rest away? Because what he's telling Black women is that they should settle. This man didn't say anything about looks, or any of those things. What's your thought?
But what you have to understand is that, what do you expect from women? If you got pregnant because you had sex, you'd be pretty damn choosy too. So, you know, clue in a bit. And then, well, don't they find you attractive? Well, maybe you're not. Like,
Torch, you there? Torch.
My bad. I forgot. I forgot to hit the mute button. Damn, I've been talking all this time.
You clicked the video off. I wanted it to keep playing a little bit.
Okay. I just wanted to make a point where he said that maybe you're not attractive, right? And then
yes.
I wanted to show this guy right here. You know, let me go back. Let me just do it one more time, and I'll keep it going after this. Okay, so he's going to say this.
oh, that's a terrible thing to say, and I know perfectly well, it wasn't like I was particularly successful with girls when I was young, you know, so I know what that rejection is like. I know what that fear is like. I don't know it as well as some men know it, because I wasn't rejected outright. But what you have to understand is that, what do you expect from women? If you got pregnant because you had sex, you'd be pretty damn choosy too. So, you know, clue in a bit. And then, well, don't they find you attractive? Well, maybe you're not.
That's the effect I'm trying to make. Maybe you're not attractive. Okay, I'm going back, and I got to let it keep going.
Have you paid attention to how you dress? Do you have a plan? Are you as educated as you could be? You know, are you a liar? Are you a rabid pornography user? Because maybe that's undermining your motivation to seek out a woman and grow yourself up. It's like, if you're rejected constantly and you're out there really trying, you know, because that's another thing to ask yourself is, well, how many women have you actually asked out? And are you so sure that you're not picking women who will certainly reject you because you're trying to bat out of your league? Because you might be. So, and I'm speaking about this as a clinician too, because I had plenty of men in my practice who were, you know, radically unsuccessful with women. I had one man in particular. He was so afraid of women, he couldn't use the phone. He was too afraid of everyone to use the phone. And he had been bullied like mad. And you know, he had his problems. So I know what this is like, but pornography is a big problem. It's a big problem. It's a real curse, that pornography, in my opinion, because it's an easy out. And so we don't know what the consequences of that are. We're starting to understand some of them. But if you were better, you'd be more successful with women. Yeah. So you have to have that in your mind. And you cannot be angry at women. It's stupid. Women, it's like women being angry at men. It's a sign of.
But what do we see in the red pill and the manosphere and all of these men who share ideologies on the? I don't really watch too much of the white side of it, and I do see a lot of the same. To be honest with you, I see a lot of the same behaviors as far as on social media coming from both, but one side is just louder than the other, and a lot more entitled and delusional. And everything that he just mentioned is what we experienced in the last 10 years with these men online, that you can tell from their behavior that they don't come in contact with women, that they indulge in a lot of pornography and social media, looking at women and OnlyFans and wherever else they can see women that's partially nude and doing sex acts. But no one ever talks about that. Like none of their leaders, Kevin Samuels never discussed those issues to men of what was really wrong with them. Only thing that they did was hate women, as Mr. Peterson just said. So for the last 10 years, you have all these men that have been hating women and indulging all of these dating coaches or hate pornography, what I call it, and they have no results other than still being dry and probably a lot more in their culture moist. That's a term that they use, moist, and there is no end to their problem, and it's going to always be a constant problem, and to the point where it's spilling over into real life. It came out today that men are dropping out of the workforce. Women don't want to deal with them. They don't. Now we have an issue with the birth rates and all these other things around the world. But where is this right here? Where he's talking? Where was this at? Because I just so happened to be scrambling through some old stuff that I had and was deleting, and I came across this content, and I think probably because it was him, I didn't watch it, but I just watched it to see what he was talking about, and I was like, well, listen to this. Where has this been in the last 10 years?
Oh, well,
I haven't heard him say anything about a high value man, a submission, or anything.
Me either.
I don't think Jordan Peterson ever addressed, all of those talking points that Kevin had. This black gentleman is called Hafiz, right? And he was sort of like leading the manosphere. Most people knew who he was, but then he ran off and he got married, and then he debated Pearl when he was going out the door, and then that's when Pearl was on the rise, right? She was on the rise in the manosphere, and he came and he debated her. He bodied her, as far as I know. But her rabid fans tried to say she bodied him, but she was doing the same thing she's doing now. Those dumb talking points that she had. But this Jordan Peterson,
Go ahead. I'm sorry, sis. Go ahead.
But the Jordan Peterson person came to talk to Hafiz, this guy, because he knew he was trying to take charge of the manosphere. So, and he knew that the incels were following Hafiz. So that's when Jordan Peterson came out and it wasn't like really a debate. This white guy was just telling him how it is within the incel crowd that, a lot of them hate women. You can't. And then so Jordan Peterson was trying to explain to the audience that you cannot do this, you cannot do that, you cannot hate women, you cannot do this, you cannot try to control women. You cannot do this. You can't be a sleazeball. He was trying to explain to him all of the talking points that you see that the manosphere have now, the red pill guys have now. Jordan Peterson was trying to combat all of that, saying, you guys are insane. You guys are just off the chain. You see, he just said you can't be a sleazeball and try to get a woman. You can't hate women and try to get a woman. It just doesn't work that way. So he was trying to combat it. Hafiz was sort of trying to keep his hand on the reins of the manosphere. But as soon as Pearl came into the picture, Hafiz sort of disappeared. So that's why most people don't really remember him. But I think he left the manosphere maybe about a year and a half ago, and he got married, right? I mean, if he would have came back and then presented himself as a married man in charge of the manosphere, maybe he could have helped turn it around a little bit. But he just left the manosphere completely. And so that's where Kevin Samuels stepped in. I think it was like 2 years ago or so that Hafiz was really almost like Kevin Samuels almost. People knew who he was and everything else. But he left and he got married. So
I'm gonna answer, but I'm gonna go over a few comments that I saw in the comment section. If any of you catch any that catch your eye, you can bring up some. So Mr. Archer in the comment section saying men are leaving the workforce because there is no incentive. No incentives to who? So if you leaving the workforce, then what are you doing? You're at home watching porn and trolling women and cosplay as high value men on the internet. So if you don't go to work, how is your bills being paid? Now, we will also say that in our community that, there has been a long number of years that Black men have led in unemployment anyway. So I don't really think that there's going to be much of the impact in our community of what's happening right now with everybody else as far as employment, because we've already been dealing with this with men. So when you say there's no incentive, so what is all of these unemployed Black men been doing for all these years? Because let you tell it from your dustygeographics.com statistics that y'all make up, that y'all are in middle class and y'all are 56% kids free, what is a damn lie. And so why does that change now that the pale god daddy is telling you what it is and it's no pushback from you? And then we have King of whatever his name is down there saying, well, it's all over the world. But when you come in this chat every day, you're trolling Black women and saying that we can't get men. We're the only women that can't get men, and that's why we don't have no man. But today, when the pale daddy tells you what it is, then now, it's globally. But we've been telling you that this is a global issue. But what has happened globally to other women has always been our issue. So now you're accepting it that other women are saying, is following in our lead and saying, I can do bad by myself, or I can do very well without you, actually. I don't need you. Right. But today, your answer is, it's women all over the world. What happened to, it's only Black women? See, this is the hypocrisy that I am talking about. Where Black men will say one thing and then the white man will say something else, and then you don't have any pushback to him. Had it been not a Black woman that is Jordana Peterson up there, she wouldn't have been able to get a word in, and he would have talked all over her and told her how wrong and undesirable and she was the least desirable in the world and that's why Black women don't have a man. But as we can see right now, he's very submissive, as always, as it normally goes with you guys when you're talking to a man of no color. But we can continue to roll the tape.
So you feel as though Dr. Peterson is that, for the men who are complaining about the standards of women today and it being elevated, that it's not so much a focus of pointing the finger at them not choosing them, but more so looking in the mirror and asking themselves what can they do to improve themselves to be so desirable, instead of focusing simply in on the inability of what
be
you're
a little
today.
stronger, be a little stronger, dress a little better, speak a little more clearly, aim a little higher, like, and practice that, you know, and that'll work. Now, you know, I know that that's more difficult for some people than others, because some people bear incredibly difficult developmental burdens, you know, and I'm not saying that this is easy, but I'm saying that it's a useful reaction. Like, what else are you going to do? What else are you going to do? Complain about women? You know, I've seen that in men. I went out with a group of men who were having trouble with their wives, and they'd gone off to this like couples retreat, and it was mostly rubbish, although they were trying a bit to get their lives together. And I spent a whole day with them. There were 3 of them, and one of them was a guy that I'd known for quite a while, and every single word he said was a lie. And so, and all these 3 did the whole day was complain about their wives. And I thought, what the hell's wrong with you guys? Like, you picked them. They're these women you picked, you know, and maybe they have their flaws, but they're your wives. And that's how you talk about them? And you think they're the problem? You're so dumb that you don't even know that you shouldn't badmouth your wife just because she's your wife. Like when Tammy and I got married, we had a discussion about that. It's like, she has her flaws and I have my flaws, but I'm her husband and she's my wife. And there's a certain respect that goes along with that category.
Thank
To
you.
have any sense.
Thank you.
So that's an extension of the same thing.
Thank you.
It's best to look to yourself. Now and then you could, you know, things have gone wrong.
Not him saying thank you, thank you, thank you. Now it's thank you.
No, I'm saying
thank you.
No, I'm saying he's saying.
Oh, was that you saying that? I thought that was him saying that. I was about to say, I know he ain't up there saying thank you.
No. I was
thanking him now.
I was saying thank you for at least explaining that part. People don't respect being somebody's husband or respect being someone's wife. These men these days don't even understand that you're not supposed to disrespect the sanctity of marriage. He's trying to say to you all, he's trying to say to the men, you guys disrespect the sanctity of marriage. He's trying to say, when I married my wife, she was my wife. I gave her that respect. I would not disrespect my wife. And she's not disrespecting her husband. He's trying to explain to him or say to him, these days, even my buddies that I went on a trip with were disrespecting their wife. And they're the ones who chose her. They're the ones who chose their wives. Why would you do that?
But wasn't Kitten Hills telling black people and promoting to black people as the leader? What did they call him in a Christian word? Saint. The saint Kittens was telling black people, was telling black women that they have to allow their men to cheat. That polygamy was the best route to go for black women, to have that you should allow your men to be with other women.
They're promoting that now.
The fallen king that's inside of the comment section, the king with no kingdom, and the magical gold that's down there that has so much to say, and he's like, well, men is not interested in dating and marriage no more. So there we go with the hypocrisy again. And now you're using that, and I'm gonna use another one of your incel words, to cope. Right. That's your way of coping, because you know that red pill don't work, and it didn't work. And as a matter of fact, it destroyed relationships even more. Because prior to this, the argument was, well, it's women that's 80% filing for divorce. It ain't the men. They not filing for divorce. So no, it's not men that don't want to be married. It's women that don't want to deal with you, because you have turned them off for the last 10 years with your whining and crying all over the internet.
Right.
So now they see no interest in you. That's what it is. Mr. Peterson at some point in his interview said something about attraction. I don't think he said it yet, but it may be coming up, and he may have already said it. I think he was talking about it when he was talking about maybe you're not attractive. He made a point that women need to be attracted to you, right? Physically. But we'll go back to the black daddy of all of the black men with no daddy. that's still in mourning over a man that they didn't know. And he said something totally different.
Mm.
He
Right.
sure did. Yep.
I got a question.
Is
Go
that
ahead.
someone on the panel? Oh,
Oh, yeah, I got kicked off like 2 days ago for this.
Okay, hurry up. Please go with your question, please.
oh, okay.
He just now finished talking about married men. I guess he was talking about single men. So what demographic is he talking about? All men?
All
just
men.
He actually
Okay.
said all when he started
He said
speaking,
all
if he was
men, yes.
listening.
No, I
You
wasn't
can't
here.
just always
I
listen
wasn't.
to what you feel like benefits you,
Oh
which
my
what I
God.
believe a lot of men have been doing. See, you see what you're doing right now. You don't want to listen.
Because you, ma'am, I asked a simple
I just
question.
answered your question so that
And
I
I
can give
wasn't.
you a more in-depth answer.
And I
He's
said I
talking to
wasn't.
all. He's talking for all.
I wasn't here, ma'am. And you just said if you
I
made
just said it to you, but I'm answering your question. Is there a problem?
Yes, ma'am, because I asked a question. I wasn't here. I just
But I
said what
just
I just.
answered you. So
Oh
what is the
my
issue?
God,
Like, why
man.
are
Okay,
you whining right now?
DJ Torch.
Camo's lead.
All right, go ahead, man. This.
We could keep rolling the tape.
To bear your responsibility, you have to address that at a social level, at a communal level. But fundamentally, it's like, and you do so much less harm if you look to yourself first as the problem. But then believe me, you're plenty of problem for you. You're all the problem you need for you. That's for sure.
So what would you say, Dr. Peterson, to the young men who are pushing back on this idea, and the young men who say, like, traditionally speaking, there was a sort of mating where if you were a guy, you're a middle class, you can get a middle class partner. You're a guy making $40,000 a year, you can get a certain level of partner. That in some communities, in some environments, because of degrees or things like that, if you're a guy, making $50,000 a year or $60,000 a year, and you're doing relatively well, that the women in your cohort who are similar partners to you may not desire you. Instead of wanting a partner making 60, want a partner making 80. So what would you say to those guys?
Mostly I'd say that was an excuse. But I wouldn't go farther than that, because I don't know how to answer those questions in some ways at a collective level, which is why I focus on the individual. If someone came to me and told me that, the first thing I would do is listen to them for like 10 sessions, just to find out what they're thinking and to find out what the problem actually is, because they think they know what the problem is. It's these picky women, and that could be the problem. For them, it might be. Maybe there's a demographic issue or community issue that I don't understand. So I wouldn't assume that I knew what the problem was. But those sorts of things, in my experience, have to be solved at a high level of detail, like at high resolution. So let's say you are having trouble finding a mate, and you think, well, I'm reasonably symmetrical, I'm in decent physical condition, I'm young, I have a decent salary, but still, okay, well, that's a deep dive issue. I don't know what's wrong. We'd have to talk about that. And I do mostly listen. It's like, you seem okay, so why don't you have a partner? Well, that's a deep mystery. Like, it's really a deep mystery. It's nothing trivial. There's no simple solution to that. And so, again, that's why I don't really do sociology in some sense, except insofar as I understand the role of the individual in relationship to society. So I would say to someone like that, practically, if you want to do something, go see a cognitive behavioral psychologist and take the problem apart and strategize. That you'll figure out how to fix it.
Good. That's good, because I think
it's a serious problem, right?
Yeah.
So hold on for a second, because what I'm not going to do is play with the incels in the chat that want to continue on with the bullshit, because you can't tell me that internationally women around the world are opting out of relationships and then also tell me that's why men are leaving, so many men, which that is not true at all. And when I'll speak in my community, the other groups of men was already leaving. In our community, the number has barely budged as far as men leaving the country. Men will go on a couple of days vacation to a country that is very impoverished, that only costs a couple of dollars to, that only take a couple of hours to get there, to pay for companionship. That's a little bit cheaper than what he could pay for here. There is no different from the modern trick, because that's what you are. You're not a traditional man. You're a modern trick. You're a modern trick. The modern trick just gets a passport and go and pay cheaper than the tricks that's that's at home. So like, we're not going to do that.
Mr. Sigma, you men are not good at relationships anyway. So what difference does it make whether you guys opt out of those or not? You're not good at them anyway. So please opt out of them. Move out the way. Move out of the way. So
but we're gonna get into like, as a matter of fact, when we get finished with Mr. Peterson, you know, after he finished drilling this king right here, we're gonna go into what are they actually doing overseas? Like what are they doing different than they did here?
Right.
That's the next segment. The next segment topic is, what are they doing different than they did here? What are we missing? What are all of the beautiful Black women in America that can take care of themselves, that's not married, missing out on? We're going to get into that.
All right.
Happening is that, like you said, too many people create a one-size-fit-all problem to what they're going on. So they say, well, the reason I'm unsuccessful is because of A, but in reality, if you could talk to a wiser individual and sit down, you might realize that the problem isn't aka the women. Maybe the problem is that, you know, you're lacking confidence, you're lacking communication skills, you're picking the wrong kind of individuals, and there's a myriad of varieties of issues instead of just simply making it just a one-size-fit-all problem.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it's also in some ways a lot less depressing to particularize like that, because you find out a bunch of problems you don't have, right? So you can just those aren't my problems. Turns out my problem is this, and then that might be non-trivial, and probably is, but at least it's not everything, right? And I also think that when we talk about things like climate change, it's like, well, really, there's no such thing as the climate. It's not a useful word when you're trying to solve a problem. And what do you mean by change exactly? Like these are really low resolution concepts, and all the solutions are high resolution. And it requires particularized expertise to solve some genuine actionable problem. You have to decompose the problem. And then you have to be satisfied with addressing some micro element of it. There's no fixing climate change. That conceptually, it's just an indication of unsophisticated thinking. That's all it is. And then there's an insistence. Well, climate change is real. Well, what do you mean by real? What do you mean by change? What do you mean by climate? How much do you know about climate? And I'm just picking on that because it's a real overgeneralization. It's not helpful. Yeah. And when you talk to real experts, they've particularized. So I'll give you an example. Glenn Schellenberger, I hope I got that right. I just talked to him. He wrote this book recently called Apocalypse Never. And he was a climate activist, an eco-activist for a long time. But you know, he kept delving into things and particularizing them. And then he wrote this book. And one of the things he said was, he talked to an MIT scientist who said, if you want to knock carbon dioxide emissions down, the best thing to do would be to work to help India burn more coal. It's like, who would guess that except a particularized expert? The reason for that is that it's better than wood. And it's a pathway on the way to natural gas and perhaps nuclear. But it's not obvious, because in the short term, it makes the problem worse, or it seems to. And so that's particularized knowledge, and you have to particularize your problem. Why can't men find women to date? That's not your problem. Your problem is why you can't find the woman you want.
Bingo.
And you have to assume that's your problem, because otherwise you have to assume that it's the women's problem. And really, they're all wrong and you're right. Really? Lucky you. Maybe you are. You're an undiscovered gem of some sort. Probably not.
No, that was really powerful, Jordan Peterson. I love the
I'm gonna
call
bring it back
always.
because that is that.
So as one,
Find women to date. That's not your problem. Your problem. Because in the short term, it makes the problem worse, or it seems to. And so that's particularized knowledge. And you have to particularize your problem. Why can't men find women to date? That's not your problem. Your problem is why you can't find the woman you want.
yeah,
And you have to assume that's your problem, because otherwise you have to assume that it's the women's problem. And
yeah.
really, they're all wrong and you're right. Really? Lucky you. Maybe you are. You're an undiscovered gem of some sort. Probably not.
No, that was really powerful, Jordan Peterson. I love the call always back to accountability. And so as one who's been married for so many decades, I think one of the challenges a lot of men do is they aim for the wrong women, or they pick the wrong women. So in your personal experience from your years of marriage, and there's also years of study, what would you say are things that men need to be focusing in on when it's trying to select a woman for a long-term marriage partner?
Well, you want someone honest. That's really, really important. Someone who will do her best to tell the truth. And my wife swore she'd do that before we got married, and she has. Probably better than I have. And so that's a rock, man, at the bottom of things, you know. So and you can't underplay the role of sexual attraction. And that's a mysterious thing. And so that's crucial as far as I'm concerned, and can't be
So I have
just,
a real
you know.
question about
Yeah.
that, Jordan Peterson, Dr. Peterson. So you mentioned pornography, and we do countless pieces of content to be able to help young men overcome that issue and provide tons of resources to help them support them. So what I've noticed that happens sometimes is because of years of watching pornography, the men's sexual attraction becomes warped. And so how can a man whose sexual attraction to women has become warped to the extreme ends due to so much consumption of pornography, how can that man go back to now being attracted to, more natural looking women, or more women that could be around their lives instead of the projected?
Well, deprivation is helpful.
Yeah.
I mean, so I think it's reasonable to assume that there's a novelty edge in pornography, like there is in so many quasi-addictive phenomena. And so it has to become, because novelty is a sexual kick, it has to stay novel. And that means that over time it's going to become more extreme. So that's not good. Well, so how do you resensitize yourself in some sense? Well, you stop. And then hopefully you recover. And then you deprive yourself of that outlet, let's say. And you might say, well, is that absolutely necessary? And maybe there's nothing wrong with pornography. It's like, well, I don't know, man. Like, have you ever really met a guy who is proud of that? Like, you know what I mean? That makes him feel like, I'm the guy, man. I'm watching pornography and getting off. It's like, what a man. I don't believe anyone feels that. And to me, maybe I'm wrong. And to me, that's an indication that, yeah, we know. No, it's pretty cheap. It's cheap. It's easy. And, I say that knowing that I believe the research evidence shows that if you introduce pornography into a community, that rates of sexual crime committed by men upon women actually decline. So there is perhaps some utility in that outlet. But, that's a unidimensional analysis and doesn't take into account all the other effects of pornography. Yeah. So, including the ones you described. And I think that those are real. It makes sense that they're real because it's super satiation. And it's a non-trivial technological problem. It's now possible for young men to look at more beautiful nude women in one day than any man has ever seen, prior to 10 years ago, 20 years ago, than any man in history had ever seen. That's not nothing. That's something. And to think that doesn't do anything to you, it's like, no, that likely does something to you. So don't substitute the false for the real, and don't underestimate the utility of deprivation. You know, what do we need to drive us forward to have the adventure of our life? You know, well, some deprivation, that's for sure. That heightens desire and drive, and maybe you need that. You're afraid to approach a woman. Well, you remove part of your drive with pornography, and so now you don't have that sexual urge to overcome that anxiety, and so you stay timid for your entire life. You know, maybe not, but maybe.
So, honesty, the attraction, is there anything else that you feel as though is extremely important that, you know, that this is things that men need to be focusing on for picking a long-term partner?
I'd have to particularize it probably after that. Knowing her family, I think, is useful. And my wife has a very solid family, and that's been a good thing. So I'm fortunate in that. So, and you think too, you know, you're going to have kids. Is this a person that you think would be a good mother and an enjoyable partner? Have someone you can have some fun with, and spar with a bit too, you know? So.
That's powerful. Dr. Peterson, thank you so much. All the wisdom that you've been sharing has been so powerful. I mean, I've just been sitting here listening, learning, gleaning from you, just gaining so much information. And I hope that so many men can be able to get this, and women as well. And so what would be a closing message you want to leave the men and women who are watching this episode, who are trying to build lives of purpose, who are trying to build lives of meaning, who want to leave a legacy on this earth? What would be your closing message to those individuals?
Don't underestimate the hole your absence would leave. You know, each of us, we're remarkable creatures, and we have something to offer to the world, to our people we love, to the world at large. It's our responsibility to make that manifest, and we move a little farther away from paradise every time that doesn't happen. Really. So, wow. You know, this is serious business, and we're very technologically powerful now. We can't afford too much psychological immaturity.
That's powerful. Dr. Peterson, thank you so much for those words. Guys, please, man, you already know how we get down at the Roommates. Be sure to reach out to Dr. Peterson. Let him know what about the podcast stood out to you guys. Man, this episode is so much powerful, man. You probably I know I got to watch this multiple times because there's probably so many things that I missed.
I bet he wasn't saying that before Peterson got on, huh?
No, and that's the reason why he had to ask that question, because he thought that Mr. Peterson was going to get on there and start talking about submissiveness and the modern women and the matrix and all these other things. And what he got was a wake-up call. And, you know, I knew who Mr. Peterson was, like who he was, prior to me knowing what you know, all of this stuff was going on. So what I saw of him at that time was totally different. Or Lance in a comic session was saying that I was triggered and manless, and which is completely false. And the reason why I didn't know is because I've actually been married and had a very long career that my husband, you know, supported me through. So I wasn't in the country a lot. I wasn't, you know, I wasn't stable in one place to be able to catch up on everything socially. But now that I'm retired and I'm home doing things and I'm supporting my husband, because we had a plan, as Mr. Peterson said, or Lance, if that, you know, helps you a little bit, maybe you can write it down, because I believe I told you this before. So I'm able to catch up, you know, on a lot of what's going on. So so once I came into a different space, it's just like the men of the Black Manosphere will say, well, y'all only watch certain parts of, you know, of Kevin Samuels. We watch the parts that y'all put out, just like the parts that y'all put out about Peterson was what you wanted to hear and what you wanted everybody to hear to make a point. but it wasn't really truly who he was. So I only heard him from a different side, and being in a different place in my life, and my lifestyle was different. What I believe is going on with Mr. Peterson is what Kevin Samuels probably should have done before he went to meet his maker, was to hold himself accountable and make things right. And maybe he understand that a lot of the things that he put out before was not helpful but more harmful. So he needed to make a better he needed to observe a little better, make a better assessment of what really was going on, and make amends before he meet his maker.
What was harmful? Can you elaborate?
I'm not getting into that with you.
All right.
Thank you. You're late. You can go back and watch the
No, I'm fine.
You can go back and watch what you
video.
actually missed after the show, because we kind of get into that, because the whole point of this is the hypocrisy of how these two men, Kevin Samuels and Mr. Peterson, follow the same ideology, but the mess that Kevin Samuels put out to his community is totally different from what this white man puts out to his community, that is always have done much better than our community.
Yeah, it says both modern men and women. He just giving a balance, like hypothesis of what's going on, I guess, from a young white man's point of view, because he did say family.
He's not a young white man. He's an older man, and he's actually been in this game for a very long time.
He got the same education Dr. Umar Johnson got, so they sound kind of like the same.
No,
way.
They don't sound the same at all.
But it's got like
I have never heard him say my caramel strawberry, Little Debbie's sister, and all this weird stuff. Like, these are two different.
Yeah, we're not talking about person. No, nobody's the apps.
No, this is what I don't know him personally. Man. None of us knows him personally. We know what he puts out. So is that not what he puts out? Isn't that not what he showed himself as? We don't know him personally.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. The title of the video.
But Dr. Umar is also not manosphere. So we're talking about as far as the red pill community.
I said education, ma'am.
I'm not talking about, it doesn't matter to me with the education or whatever. What I'm talking about is this sector that's here, that is influencing men.
Yeah.
It doesn't include Dr. Umar. That's a whole nother sector.
Yeah. Okay. But back to
you're not going to talk pro-black to me, but promote whiteness and be following a 25-year-old white woman that's built like a man. That's what we're not going to do.
What are you talking about? You go all over the place.
DJ Torch, can we move on? Because I'm not doing this.
Goodness gracious. Why
so here we have more smooth brain cinema of someone that thinks they'll become internet famous by streaming their unemployed behavior.
Why is it streaming like this? Give it 1 second for some reason.
So we into the next segment of, since we want to, continue to drop this. That's why we leaving in droves.
So
and we'll continue on with the same behavior that we see in America that continues to show as they leave in so-called droves but never leave. What's going on there? So this is another episode of Passport Bros leaving in droves as the better. These are supposed to be the best of the black community.
I can guess what's going to happen. I've not even seen this video before. I've never seen it, but I can kind of guess what's going to happen.
Of someone that thinks they'll become internet famous by streaming their unemployed behavior.
What is going on with this video?
And that guy looks African, by the way. He don't even look American black.
It doesn't matter. There's Africans in the Passport Bros. There's also Africans inside of the manosphere. So we're not gonna play games.
We got him.
So there's an awful lot to unpack here, from his unemployed behaviors, fake apology, run-ins with certain Japanese criminals, and then his sudden real apology. Because apparently he was just some guy from Arizona that branded himself as a Somalian traveling through Asia, streaming degenerate
Arizona.
I told you Somalian.
But he was simply never expecting.
Listen, we're not going to do that. We're going to continue to listen to the video, and you're not going to interrupt the video.
From Texas.
Can you play it back since he was talking so we can get it all the way through?
Got it. I'll start at where he starts his narration.
Ladies and gentlemen,
皆様、
we got him.
私たちはそれらを手に入れました。
So there's an awful lot to unpack here, from his unemployed behaviors, fake apology, run-ins with certain Japanese criminals, and then his sudden real apology. Because apparently he was just some guy from Arizona that branded himself as a Somalian traveling through Asia, streaming degenerate intelligence. But he was simply never expecting that on a Japanese subway, he'd encounter the rare rooftop Korean from Texas.
What do you mean?
Why is this video tripping like that? Let me go forward a little bit.
So here we have more smooth brain cinema streaming degenerate intelligence. But he was simply never expecting that on a Japanese subway, he'd encounter the rare rooftop Korean from Texas.
What do you mean?
What in the hell is going on with this video? Can you guys hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Okay, I'm going to bring down the...
You're being obnoxious.
You know what we do to you?
What do you do?
We will do again.
Do what?
Hiroshima, Nagasaki. You understand?
Do you think I'm Japanese?
Where are you from?
I'm from America.
Where are you from? What's your ethnicity?
Texas, buddy.
What's your ethnicity?
I'm Korean.
Then sit down, brother.
Why don't you sit your ass?
Korean War, you know what happened to you?
Don't touch me. I'm obnoxious, brother.
Don't touch me,
Leave this
brother.
guy alone.
Korean War, North Korean War, you know what we did to you?
So
there's
like
a very
pause it
subtle
for one
thing that
second.
Yeehaw-
For 1 second, while we talking about, as we know, yes, he is definitely of Somali ethnicity, but he's definitely a Somali American, and he is actually presenting as a Black person in America because that's what they see him as, and he's also a passport bro. So
How do you
you
know
can
that?
say that
How do
he's
you
not
know that?
that he's
Please
not
let her
American, but
finish.
it doesn't matter because we already know Austin got kicked out of Brazil and can't never go back there. Not officially, but he already know he can't go back there, and the world knows because of what he did. We also know everything that's going on because it's always shown on CNN, along with the deaths and also the robbings and druggings of actual Black Americans. So basic to them, they don't care what you say and how you feel he identifies. He went there identifying as a Black American.
How do you know that? Did he say it? You're just making stuff up, ma'am.
Opa is
Have you ever thought that maybe she's seen the video already?
But go ahead. Go ahead and finish the video.
doing here, because in the ratchet status that is American public transportation, there is a lot of fights, but it's usually paired with a lot of shouting, posturing, and people screeching of what they might do but won't actually do, because deep inside they know they're actually small, terrified, and largely defenseless. But I remember over a decade ago, I took a security job. Now, me not being 6'5" and jacked, I remember consulting a buddy who was military police, and he gave me the best advice ever, saying, you gotta approach every scenario like it's just two little kids fighting. To them, or the person you're detaining, it's a very intense moment, but you don't roll up on little kids shouting, yo, what's up? You know where I'm from? I'm about to wreck you. Like, no. Someone that is entirely in control and not afraid of the situation is going to calmly say, knock it off, we're not negotiating this, and will plainly let them know, I am willing to escalate this beyond a level that you're prepared for. So going from Texas to the top lane, this Korean cowboy is checking off all those boxes. His stern approach to not tolerating a clout-chasing streamer with daddy issues is pretty much exactly what is needed here. But it didn't stop in the subway, as he got confronted in the streets later in the evening.
What do you want to do? Chill out. Yo, what's up? Hey, chill out. Because you tried to attack me. Call. I call, please. Call back. Call. Somebody make a donation. I say it's a joke. It's not serious. No joke. Okay, can I say sorry? I'm not. It's a joke. Yo, we're not playing, bro. It's a joke. Yo, he mad. What is he mad about? You want to fight me? No. Okay, so have a peace or what? Yeah, peace. And then let's do peace.
And notice when he got confronted, how quickly did his voice go from menace to memes? And when the biker turned his back for half a second, the streamer tried to posture back up into I'm a menace mode. We saw the same thing with the rapper that only wanted to attack the grocery store worker once he turned his back, which again, This just highlights the idea that this type of content creator is just exposing themselves for not being raised by a strong male figure, and why anybody would want to live stream their daddy issues is just beyond me. Now, he did initially make an apology, but it was sheer nonsense.
I know there's been a lot of controversy about myself in the stream this week. I want to come here and clear the air. The reason I did this was because Joe Biden is coming in 3 days.
So stop it right here, so I can help out. And sir, I don't know your name, so I'm just gonna address you as sir. I'm gonna go into it since you're not picking up on what's going on. You know, I don't know why. If you remember in the beginning of this video, he spoke of Hiroshima, which happened in World War II, which was a war between America and Japan. So he's presenting as an American, and he's a black person. Whether he's African or not, he's black. So therefore, he's there representing America. And then as a black person and as a passport bro. And then as we see right now, he's going to go into politics of America. None of that was Somali. He also mentioned the American-Korean War. None of that has to do with Somali.
Exactly. Well said.
Joe Biden is going back to Hiroshima. It was actually patriotic, I feel like, to bring awareness to the tragedy, because Joe Biden is coming and Joe Biden needs our help. With everything going on with Jeffrey Epstein, I feel like this is something I have to embrace. The men on that train were hiding evidence about the case. So this was a psyop. You guys failed.
Which I think we all knew at some point he was going to be stopped, either by common Japanese citizens, the more fringe, aggressive Japanese residents, or possibly just by their law enforcement. As according to Dexerto, Japan isn't as lenient as other countries when it comes to what you upload on the internet. So later, he did seem to post a sincere apology.
I want to make this video to sincerely apologize to the country and the people of Japan. It was wrong. It was disrespectful.
You know, the problem I have is this is doesn't even respect his own image, his own self-worth. I mean, that's the problem we have. This is the problem we have overall as far as men in the black community. How can we expect other people to respect us if we don't respect ourselves or behave respectfully or respectable? You know, that's the problem I'm having right now.
Shout out to my girl Prism, who doing the work internationally to get rid of this dust. And I'm gonna just leave it at that. And if you know, you know. Shout out to her.
It's like a little mental illness is going on. Just like a tiny thread of it is going through the community, and it's like it's a lot of people that need, you know, they need more than the internet. The internet is just warping people's minds even more. Instead of getting the help that they need, it's like it was the worst thing that was introduced, where we're all anonymous on the internet and people can say and do whatever they want on the internet. It's probably one of the worst things that has happened to some people when their imagination is already fractured. It became even more so when the internet opened up and you could be on there 24/7 and say and do whatever you like to do without repercussion. I don't know whether it's the best thing that ever happened or the worst thing that ever happened. I don't know.
This is what happened when you have a community that has no leadership, no male leadership. That anything can happen, anybody can do anything, anybody can cosplay black men, and they don't care as long as that person is hate black women, they can sit in their spaces, call themselves manosphere, call themselves passport bros. But when their behavior is put on film and put out to the world, and all of a sudden, oh, he's not black, he's a Somali. No, he's manosphere. He's passport bro.
Correct.
That's all that matters.
Right.
Let's go ahead and let Darnell and then 3D chime in. Darnell?
Yes, sir. I'm here. I'm just listening. I have nothing to really chime in about right now.
Got it. 3D, how about you?
Hey, salute, Torch. What's going on?
Hey, 3D, how you doing, man?
All right, bro.
And real quick before 3D talk, I want to also shout out all of the men who live abroad that constantly get on these panels to protect their name as black men who travel and live abroad that don't want to be seen like this. And the reason why they have to is because of these type of men right here. So I want to send a shout out to them too, because this is not about bashing black men, because that's how they feel when anybody correct them or hold them accountable. You're bashing them by showing their behavior. That's one stereotype about them that is definitely true, along with a lot of others. So thank you. Go ahead, 3D. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I came in the stream. I seen a little bit towards the end of the Jordan Peterson video. I'm not gonna get too into that. Y'all kind of went through the rabbit hole with her fees and all that. What I will say is that, I have this stance since I've been on this side of YouTube, is that at least my dad told me follow the money, and I had uncles and stuff tell me like prioritize my career. The rest of that stuff will come. Obviously, I want to, they taught me well as a man and instill characteristics in me, and you want to develop yourself as a person on the way. But I was always taught, by the older men I was around and mentors to prioritize finances and health and and education or whatever it might be. But the two biggest is finances and health, and not chasing cheeks and box. And then I guess moving on to this video, this is very upsetting to me for a couple of reasons, because I'm a big fan of Japanese culture. I like Shintoism, I like Buddhism, I like anime, I like a lot of the different concepts of Eastern Asian philosophy, and I apply it to my daily life. I actually went over to Japan for a short trip, but I went over there, and Japanese people, if you don't understand culture, they're some of the nicest people on the face of the earth. And if I would say as an American black man, those are, like, if you want to say people who are I won't say allies, but people who, like, they genuinely appreciate us as people and our culture, I would say is Japanese people. They're one of the few. They love us. They love our culture. They're very respectful. They're respectful to everyone. Like, Japanese people, they're some of the most humble people on earth. They're some of the most hardest working people on earth too, if you understand the crisis that's going over there in their workforce. But I digress about that. I guess to wrap it up, I think this shit is ignorant. And, like, dudes like this, they always go over to Japan and they be fucking that country up, bro. That's why in Okinawa, if y'all not familiar with Japanese, what's going on over there in Okinawa, it's an island, it's a tropical island on the southern off the coast of Japan, in the southern portion of the Pacific in that country, and it's full of basically American military bases, and it's been like that since after World War II. And basically what's happening has been going on for years due to certain incidents or political standoffs. But basically they want to get the U.S. troops off the island. Now they're planning on expanding it to build bases in the Philippines, Guam, and stuff like that, and Australia, to kind of offset those 60,000 plus U.S. troops and family members that are on the island. If you go to Okinawa, it's basically like the 53rd state, right? So, and a lot of crazy shit be going on there, and a lot of Americans go over there and do a lot of crazy shit of all colors. But specifically, we talking about this so-called black man in this video, who's unfortunately representing us. It's sad because Japanese people, they show nothing but love and respect, bro, to like American blacks, in particular American black men and women too. They like the hairstyles, they like our music, and it ain't no troll, it ain't no fetish shit. It's just respect, and us as Black Americans, we like their culture too. We get their tattoos, we watch their anime. You know what I'm saying? We eat their food, so it's like you know what I mean. And I think this shit is disrespectful, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like when you a troll, it's that troll generation shit. It's that troll shit, bro. Like, if you just sitting behind the computer all day and talk in front of a camera all fucking day, you don't really. And it's not even that. It's just to wrap it up. It's just when you can get away with doing and saying things, not suffer the consequences of getting your ass whooped or getting popped in the mouth or getting checked on that shit. This is what happens when you don't have nobody around to check you on what you've been doing your whole life. You've been trolling, people letting that shit slide, bro. And you people let shit slide so long, you fuck around, find out that somebody slides you, bro. And you think it's shit sweet over there. Everybody they practice martial arts, discipline, mental focus and respect and honor. Them people, those are some honorable people, bro. And they don't like, bro, the kamikaze, bro. That's the thing. Like, them motherfuckers, they weren't taking L's. Them motherfuckers rather kill themselves than to fucking take an L, bro. And he don't know shit because that like the bombers and shit, it feminized their culture, bro. Like, basically what America did was bomb the masculinity out of Japanese and Korean culture, right? So, because like if you look up Japanese culture pre-World War II, it's straight fucking savage. Them motherfuckers trying to colonize the whole damn continent of Asia at one point. That small little island, they was on some real reckless ass shit before World War II. And so basically, as time goes on, they just became like very feminine and very docile people, but they've always kept that certain degree of respect and humbleness. And it's like when you fuck around, them people they know martial arts, bro. They gonna come at you. That's all I got on that. I just think it's gross, it's disrespectful, bro. And it's like it's lack of culture, lack of being like act like you've been somewhere before. It's like when you go somewhere, it's like, why the fuck you do act like you've been somewhere before, bro?
Well said, 3D.
So the worst thing that I can that I seen with this was the comment section, and you had the Black Americans, because I don't think people really understood the video or saw what was going on. I mean, a lot of Americans still do accept Africans as us all being the same. So even still, they understood, those of us who travel and understand internationally how Americans are viewed, they understood that these Japanese people see this man as a representation of Black Americans, and they went over there to apologize. And when you went in the comment section, they didn't want to hear that. You saw exactly how they feel about you. So all of that passport bro talk of the modern world and the matrix and we're accepted over there and tradition and all that other shit is bullshit. Although those of us who have lived abroad for many years and traveled abroad and worked abroad, we already know this. We know that you're full of shit. But because it's not so many as far as when it comes to Black people who has this experience, you're able to feed this fake fantasy that something has happened that it's not. And then what happened is, with all of your lies, of course, at some point the truth comes out, and then you're filmed all around the world acting a fool and doing the exact same thing that you do in America. And that's exactly what those thousands of comments was talking about, your behavior in America, and also saying why you're viewed the way that you are in America. And not only that, you know how y'all say, well, why do Black people care? They also added Black women into that because we're attached to you as Black, even though we're not the ones being degenerates all over the world. But now we're added into your bullshit. So that's why we constantly have to be on top of it, because you're not going to do it. You're going to actually add to the stereotypes of us because you hate your Blackness, and therefore you hate the Black children and women with it too. So you add on to the BS instead of just representing yourself as the trash that you are.
Another reason why I don't like lumping these dudes, especially, and not to get into the whole diaspora rabbit hole, but especially like these East Africans in particular, and some of these others too, is that they're quick to turn around and then say Black. They'll do the same shit to like FBAs, other Caribbean or whatever Blacks that exhibit a darker phenotype. They'll like Myron from Fresh and Fit. That whole shit that went on Rumble with the KKK mask and all that shit, them dudes will turn around and do all that because, they get, for whatever reason, they get embraced under the umbrella of, Blackness. And it's like, bro, they only use that shit to get on. They only use that shit to come up. And then once they to a certain level, they hop over the fence with the white folks, whoever, and then they give you their ass to kick you, and you just a slave or whatever the fuck they feel about you. You know, and that's how it is, bro. So I don't, you know, I'm respectful to people, but I don't associate with them people, bro. Because this how them people is, bro. I don't, you know, you can call it what you want, but you know, this is what it is, bro. And like when they do something, because we fought so hard for like rights and shit for everybody people of color. I hate that fucking term, but we fought so hard for that shit. When they do something and it's something bad, we gotta come out and we fight. We gotta take up and take the L for these motherfuckers when they run back to they communities that they identify with, and we stuck holding the L, bro. And that nigga ain't even one of us, bro. That's what's so fucking sad, bro.
Damn good
So,
point.
Eric Archer wanted us to speak on the stereotype of the Black woman, how we've been a stereotype. Yeah, we are a stereotype, but we're a stereotype for a lot more good things than you are. We are.
Very good point. Very good point.
And we also continue to work against that stereotype, and it keeps on dropping, including the single motherhood, that now that y'all have decided to knock up all of the women of no color and made them the new single mothers. We've also got rid of that stereotype too.
Man, if you go to
Latin, and it's not stereotypical, as you wrote in your comment. It's stereotype.
If you go to Latin America, all them chicks single mothers, dog. And ain't no, and most of them chicks ain't fucking Black. They just single mothers, bro. Like if you go across the world, in some parts of the world where you know it's more quote unquote traditional, them chicks getting clapped, bro. And they single moms and shit. So it's just, you know, that's just the way it is. If you don't like single moms, I don't understand that. If I don't like broccoli, I'm not gonna keep talking about how much I don't like broccoli.
May I say something?
Sure, Darnell.
I just want to say, like, so Black people as a whole, that's both Black men and Black women, make up 13% of the United States, and that's according to the U.S. Census Bureau. You know, so you guys can look it up if you feel.
We know that. We know.
Okay, I mean, so if 13% of Black people make up, Black people make up 13% of of America. How is it that Black men, because like I said, Black men, that would be about let's call it 6% of Black people, of Black men are American. Keep in mind, 1/3 of us are in jail. How is it that we are creating all the single mothers? I'm not understanding that.
I don't know. Like that's something something that you got to ask yourself. Like it's not that you're creating all the single mothers. You contribute to higher numbers of single mothers in all groups. Maybe because Black women aren't having as many children as they used to, or their priorities changed. So, and integration played a part in it. You know, like I mean, you said it right there. We're only 13%. It's more of them. So if y'all say it, there's only a few of you impregnating everybody. So maybe their sperm is reaching out further now, since you have more further reach. Like, I don't know how y'all did it.
Well, I have to.
It's just based off of numbers. So basically, to say that these women have become the highest growing group of single mothers. And you contribute to that.
I think the problem
biracial children right now are the highest. Is the most children being born in America.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that, please?
Biracial Black and white children has the highest rate right now of being birthed in America.
Do you have
I don't have it on hand, but if you want, you can go look at it yourself.
Okay, I'll try to find it, but like I said, I just don't believe it. I'm sorry.
I don't know what to tell you then. Like I don't know it. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm just telling you what it is. That yeah.
Well, it just doesn't make sense because, like I said, I mean, white people make up.
How would you say that it? Let me ask you a question. I'm gonna ask you this serious question. Let's just base it off of. If we was to base it just off of the internet and what Black men say is their preference, how can you now, because you don't like what's coming, the results from it, change it.
It's
So
not that
if all these black men are saying that their preference is to be with women of no color, if we were to just base it off of what we see on the internet, it would be true.
No, ma'am. I believe in statistics over what I see on the
Yes,
internet.
we're talking statistically based off of the internet. If we just base it off of what black men are saying and proving themselves on social media, it would be true. Now, if we were to talk about America worldwide, then I can't give you no number. I just can tell you that's what's going on. I also can tell you that's what contributes to Roe versus Wade being reversed. But I can't give you an exact number right now.
Well, ma'am, I do apologize, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything, but
no, you're not being disrespectful at all. I'm just telling you that right now we don't have the numbers with us, but we know that this is what is being presented to us, is that white women right now is the highest growing group of single mothers, and we also know that biracial children are being born more than any other group of children. So if we put two and two together.
But if you look at all men,
well, like I said, I mean that's because white people, both white men and women, make up over 60% of the country. Yeah, of course they're gonna make up a majority of single mothers, but like I said, to say, I mean that's I'm just gonna be honest with you, ma'am.
No, it's not. But so what you're saying is that is what you're thinking is that it's just black men. It's not just black men, but black men contribute to it highly because the childbirth is from black and white couples. It's not just black men. It could be white and Hispanic. It can be white and Asian. It could be white and somebody else. But what it's saying is that the highest number of births is coming from biracial children.
Well, ma'am, but like I said, when it comes to black men, like I said, we make up probably 6% of the country. Sexually active black men. We probably make up 6% of the country. And like I said, the numbers they don't add up to me.
But Darnell,
I don't know how the numbers can add up when we're low in childbirth anyway. So that means that across the board, many women, black, white, and everybody is not having kids. So if the few people making kids is black and white, I don't know how that doesn't make sense to you. Now I can see if 100% of us were giving birth, and they say, well, most of the birth is coming from black men, then that would be false. But the fact that the childbirth rate is low all across, and those who are giving birth the most are mixed race couples, white and black, it makes complete sense to me.
Go ahead, DJ Torch. I heard you wanted to ask me a question.
We can go over those numbers on another live, but we can't do any numbers crunching tonight. It would take too long. It would drag the live on too long.
Yes,
we'll go over those numbers because there are a few videos I have in the back of my mind that show the stats that you're asking for, but I cannot pop those up right now.
Yes, sir. I understand.
Okay, Camo, go ahead and take it on.
Where we at right now? Let me.
Okay. Should we go on to the next one?
So we at him with his moist apology. So we'll go into the political and diplomacy part of what he's doing now as a black man representation of the Passport Bros and Manosphere, and now he's going to go in and cause a whole nother issue that's going to be that could possibly affect the entire country. So let's go into his political rant now.
And I totally should not have said those words. This country's amazing. Everybody in this country that I've met has been super hospitable to me and has taken care of me.
So let's go back a little bit when he's talking about that he did this for President Biden.
Got it. And he actually just reinforced 3D's analogy because, and what I don't get is this: is if everybody's been so nice to him, why was he being so disrespectful? It baffled. I'm baffled and extremely disappointed.
American superiority complex, bro. This transcends all. I've seen this. I don't see it as much from FBA black guys, and I really don't see it much from foreigners, but you see it all across the board. But in this particular case, talking about the individual, he exudes that. He got that American, that good old brainwashing, lack of culture, lack of understanding outside of the mainland 48, and it clearly shows his ignorance as an American. He's a quote unquote ignorant American that everybody hates.
Let me I want to say one more thing to Darnell. So in a comment section, Southern Belle brought up a great comment. She, so when it's only 13% of us, right? So, but when it was being said that Black women was the most single mothers in America, why wasn't that questioned? The Manosphere ran with that. Kevin Samuels promoted that. Everybody else promoted that. White supremacists promoted that. Why wasn't that questioned then? Why is it only questioned when white women becomes your new single mother queen?
It's probably just bias because I remember that show. They made a show about this shit. We had a whole bunch of like white chicks. They were like,
I'm here, ma'am. I apologize. I was taking a leak and I muted my mic. That's why I didn't respond. But go ahead, sir. Please. I apologize for cutting you off.
No, I was just saying like the whole single mom epidemic is a culture thing. It's not really specifically a Black woman thing, but through certain media and narratives it became that. But if you really look at it for what it is, like if you look at what was that show on MTV, I forget the name of that shit back in the day.
It's called 16 and Pregnant.
And them all of them was like white chicks from like Kansas and shit. I mean, like straight
and
up.
Even the Black ones was from majority white communities.
Yeah, the middle of nowhere. And when you from certain places and communities, you're gonna and ain't shit to do out there. All people do is fight, drink, and fuck. You know what I mean? Like if you from the sticks, ain't really shit to do out there but drink, fuck, and fight. That's why people from like Florida and shit and Arizona and all these places they got this stereotype being crazy. Because really, I mean, it's a narrative thing. And if you ever dated or been around other groups of people and women, especially if you go to other places, you know that the single mom is very common in those places too. Like, but this goes back to my thing. If you don't like certain types of women, a certain like why keep talking about them? Why deal with them?
Another thing about this, Darnell, that you got to understand that is very important is that when Black men don't fight against something, and not only not fight against something, they support it, then you make it true. So when they said that we were the highest single mothers and we was the most on welfare, which is a goddamn lie, it's no way possible that it could be true. You went with that, roll with that, and not only that, not you per se, but I have heard you say some things too here, repeating some of these management talking points about the reason why y'all can't find women is because they single mothers and all these other things, which is very interesting because the women that y'all love and cherish also is single mothers, and not only that, they're being reported as the highest growing groups of single mothers. Could it be some type of conspiracy? Because now white women are being ran through by Black men, so their men no longer wants to protect them. It could be, it could not, but it's not for Black women to get involved in, because when we were put on the line and was talked about and was shamed, the men in our community didn't help. They actually supported those things that was against us. So now that is you can't expect for me to care enough to do research of these statistics to try to prove these people wrong. I'm not going to do that. There's some mammy somewhere, the older lady over there, wherever she is in her little thing, that will help you with that. But for me, it's not going to happen.
I mean, I understand that. The thing is, I operate on facts. And
yeah, you know how basically what's happening is how it feels now to be put in that situation. So the same way that the same questioning and not understanding that you have is the same questioning and not understanding that we have had, Black women have had for many years, and how these things is possible. And I feel like this is a you problem and your brothers. And I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not really too concerned about it myself because it's just not beneficial to Black women. And that may be something that you and your brothers should fight for instead of fighting for foreign and white cat.
Well,
I'm just saying.
If you don't mind, ma'am, please leave my brothers out of this. I mean, my brothers are.
Darnell, can I ask you a question? Darnell, can I ask you a question?
Yes, go ahead.
What groups of males are the most sexually active?
What groups of males are the most sexually active?
Correct.
Oh, that's a tough question.
It shouldn't be hard for the most desirable men on the world, the BBC king. I know you ain't got to think about it.
I'm not the BBC king, man.
Okay.
No, you the BBC king, brother. You the representation of right now on this stage, on this panel of the BBC king.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. You are.
No, ma'am. I'm a loser when it comes to women.
Okay, Darnell.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so why don't you answer this one? What group of women are the most sexually active?
What group of women are the most sexually active? To be honest, I don't know.
Okay. Would you like me to tell you?
I'd have to say white women. Percentage-wise.
You nailed it. White Caucasian women are the most sexually active, and Black males are the most sexually active. So, sounds like to me with simple math, Camo's observation is perfect.
Well, here's the thing: is that white women are probably, I'm guessing here, but white women probably make up about 30 to maybe 35% of the country, right? And Black men, we make up 6%. So that would mean we would have to be banging
double.
Yeah, it's true. The token white girl in a neighborhood that gets trained is a real true stereotype. That's a real one. It's always, even in the military, there was the token white girl that was getting ran through. So it's very much so true that she probably has, that each of them could possibly have about 50 Black bodies.
Well, here's the thing, like in the white community, once a woman has sex with a Black man, she's kind of what do you call it? She's like cast out, you know.
Yeah, that's why they don't want. That's why they will never claim you. The majority, the ones that actually come from something is not going to claim that they was getting ran through by a whole basketball team or the entire Bloods and Crips gang or the entire O Block or whatever the case may be. No, of course not. They're not going to tell you that. They're not going to go home and say, Dad, guess what? I was trained by everybody in on O Block. No, who's gonna? Why would it doesn't benefit them to do that? So no, they actually hide a lot of things that doesn't benefit them because they know in their community it won't be accepted.
It's not just their fathers; it's also, you know, like I said, future partners. Because let's face it.
Yeah, they're gonna hide it until and hopefully that it never comes out. See, it's very easy for those kind of women to hide it because they can easily go into your hood in the Black community because Black men bring them into our hood and because of that, Black women just accept them and coming to the cookout. Oh, you invited to the cookout and all that. Yeah, it's for them. But then when they go back to their community that you're not allowed in, and even if you live there, you possibly can get shot down. So it's very easy for them to hide those things. Now, every once in a while, it comes out, possibly because the baby comes out Black or they become some type of figure, that has some type of power, and then their background is digged in, that they've been dug out by Black men, but it's very rare. That's how they can hide it.
I disagree, ma'am, because like once you have a Black baby, it's like you can't hide that.
Yeah, once you have a Black baby, then it's over. But at the same time, you got to also remember that the men that run this country and run everything is white. So they can easily get rid of the whole situation, her and the baby, and send them on to Tyrone and whoever. And then and then it's so easy because the Black community going to accept the baby. The majority of these biracial children is raised to be Black.
No, I would disagree because
You can disagree what you want, but we know it's true. When biracial children come to our community, we call them Black.
No, ma'am, it's not true.
That's
it's very true.
Well,
that's absolutely true.
Well, you guys would consider me biracial. I consider myself
No,
Black,
we don't consider you biracial. You said that your parents was Black. There's some white in you. I'm very light skinned too. I got 2 Black parents. They had 2 Black parents, but somewhere along the line, something happened. Somebody did something. I don't know where because I don't know these people. There's no white people in my family. There has been no white person coming to the cookout, but I look like this.
Well, I don't know what you look like, ma'am.
Darnell, can I explain something real quick? Camo is lighter than you.
Okay.
Let me clear this up. Camo was lighter than you and whiter than you, but Camo is Black to us, just like you're Black to us.
Okay, well, that makes me feel good, to be honest with you, because like I'll be honest with you, growing up, I got racism from both sides. Not only white but also Black.
I can understand that. My mom is very light as well.
It's called colorism. We know that it exists. We talk about it all over the internet. If you want to actually get a deeper look in it, Oprah did a special where she talked to light-skinned people about their experience and she talked to dark-skinned people about their experience. Colorism has been in our community since 1619. I mean, that's just what it is. But we also, you can be a part. See, what it is that, yes, you are correct. Biracial people was never considered Black, but they have always been a part of the Black community. Yeah. So that's the thing. You might have been in the Black community because you were in the Black community, but you also could have experienced colorism, just like dark-skinned people experience colorism.
Yes, of course, dark-skinned people experience colorism. But what I was saying is, like, when you're light-skinned, you get it from both sides. You get it from white and Black. You're not white, you're not Black, and what I'm saying is that it's like you don't fit in.
It doesn't. I don't like. So a lot of times I understand and I get it. I don't identify with biracial people because I didn't come out of a white womb. I came out of a Black womb, and in fact, that a Black womb that was extremely dark skinned. So I don't identify with them, but I do understand being light skinned and somebody being dark skinned. So the way that you handle situations, for me, with that, when I came across certain situations, I told you my truth. You could either accept it or not, and then I kept moving. It didn't really harm me none.
No, I mean I agree with you. Like I said, I experienced it, myself. Like I had people tell me, "Oh, Darnell, you're not really Black," especially the way I talk. You're not Black, and I got it from my own community, but I like to use the 1/8 rule that was established from Plessy versus Ferguson in the Supreme Court case that stated if you are 1/8 Black, you are Black. Like my birth certificate.
I mean, Darnell, if you still experiencing that in 2023, that might be a you problem because today you can identify as a cow, and that's what it is. Like it doesn't. We can't change our identities. We can't, but we can understand other people's issues. I can understand. I don't know what it's like to be dark-skinned, but I can listen and understand when there's so many dark-skinned women telling me that they don't get the same treatment of someone that is of a lighter complexion, whether they're biracial or not. So I listen and I understand, and I'm not going to tell them no because I don't experience that.
I mean,
all we can do is live.
Don't know. I get where you're coming from. I get it. I got a light-skinned father, and he kind of told me like, I'm dark-skinned myself. I come from 2 Black parents. I think a lot of it comes from and also the era I grew up in, and a lot also as me being dark skinned, people used to tell me the same thing. I'm black, like I'm blacker than I'm motherfucker. I'm blacker than the nigga telling me that shit. It was because the way I acted and the way I talked. I'm from the South, but I guess my accent ain't as thick as everybody else, right? So my dad growing up, he forced me to like enunciate my words properly, things like that. And my mother is very, very country. Like she is extremely Southern, so she don't really like enunciate words like that. She real country. She talk with a twang and all that stuff. So when I was around people going to school, they was like, "Yo, who the fuck is this nigga? Like this nigga act white. You talk white. You do this. You read books. You into different shit. You know what I'm saying?" So, and I got it from a lot of black females, bro, when I was growing up, and you know, I used to ask, I'm like, "Mom, what the fuck? Like, why is this?" You know, and then she was like, "You just don't you just different." She's like, "You just different. You like you just different." And I never understood it, and I had, you know, and it was like it took some time, and I was kind of like a little salty at it because I'm like, you know, I understand, like, because I grew up around black women, I understand their struggles, and I'm like, for as much as y'all go through, for y'all to tell me that shit, it's like, damn, you know. But eventually, I started to live life, and eventually, times changed, and now that I'm older, I don't really have them problems with black women no more. I'm just kind of myself, and like everybody got their own like issue, right? Like everybody got their own experience with things. I got light-skinned people in my family. They got different issues I can't relate to. I can sympathize, but I can't empathize. So I guess it's up to us as individuals to try to get over those different things and not, I guess, take it personal. And it goes back to what the dad be telling me, bro, money trail, get your money up, be the best version of you, do these things, you know, these and work on yourself, build yourself up, get into martial arts, get into fitness, get your money up. That way, you know, make sure your appearance is on point, you know, be, you know, like a brick wall, be solid, bro. Like don't let that shit, you know what I'm saying? You throw something at a wall, that shit fall right off. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta tank that shit.
You gotta understand that somebody else's view of you is not your problem. It's their problem.
Yeah.
It's their issue. So I understand. I'm an empath too, and I understand those emotions. I went through it. It took a lot for me to build confidence and be the person that I am because of being an empath. But I can't continue to keep taking on other people's burdens. What I can do is show them who I am. I'm not the light-skinned girl that was colorist and all those things that they dealt with. But I'm not going to take away from what they dealt with either. All I can do is show who I am. And in time, they realize, oh, yeah, she cool. Like, yeah, that's not who she is. I don't experience that with her. So all you can do is continue to be you. If you are the good person that you say that you are, then it's going to shine through.
All right, let's go ahead and continue the video.
Actually patriotic, I feel like, to bring awareness to the tragedy, because Joe Biden is coming and Joe Biden needs our help. With everything going on with Jeffrey Epstein, I feel like this is something I have to embrace. The men on that train were hiding evidence about the case. This was a psyop. You guys failed.
Which I think we all knew at some
I know
point.
when you have the Austin Holloman music in the background.
It sounds like he does.
I know you lying.
Austin Holloman elevator music.
Either by common Japanese citizens,
just porn elevator music,
more fringe, aggressive Japanese residents, or possibly just by their law enforcement. As according to Dexerto, Japan isn't as lenient as other countries when it comes to what you upload on the internet. So later, he did seem to post a sincere apology.
I want to make this video to sincerely apologize to the country and the people of Japan. It was wrong, it was disrespectful, and I totally should not have said those words. This country's amazing. Everybody in this country that I've met has been super hospitable to me and has taken care of me. And I really want to apologize to not just the people of Japan. I want to apologize directly to the two men on the train. And if I can reach out to them and speak to them one-on-one, I would love to do that. Really, I really feel ashamed for what I did. And if there's anything I can do to make amends, please let me know.
And honestly, I was glad to see this. I'm a big advocate of young people learning their lessons and turning their life around. Just because you made dumb decisions, I don't think we should sentence people to a life of exile, because then they have no choice other than to keep doubling down on that poor behavior. But also, I'm very skeptical about online apologies. Sometimes they are sincere, but most of the time you're just witnessing the final flailing of someone drowning in the sea of online irrelevance. Because shortly after, he was streaming online and got randomly smacked.
Whoa, what the?
And later had water thrown on him.
Like threw water on me. Hey, chill out. Hey, chill out, bro. Me know nothing me, you heard?
He slapped his spit out his
If there's
mouth.
one persona that I despise the most.
Damn.
So Passport Bros and Manosphere is going to have to tell me. They're going to have to like explain this. So you mean to tell me that you went from America getting slapped by Brad and being forced in submission to going to Japan and getting slapped by Naruto and put in submission? Somebody's going to have to tell me something.
It's the people that are what I call gangster fluid, where at sometimes they act bold and in your face like they're from the hood, but then in the next moment they're crying on live stream about someone throwing water on them. I'm sorry, where in the G code does Tupac talk about crying to the police that you got wet? Because after he was detained by Japanese police, he tried to rap about it.
We gotta diss the out of Japan. I'm tired of Japan. Really. And then I'm gonna go to Korea, and then I'll be a hero in China and Korea. The first bar is Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That's what got me lit.
And that's what this comes down to. He tried to stream his daddy issues in Japan, and then something scared him into posting an apology video. And when that didn't work, and the residents still kept pressing him, he went straight back into what sparked the online outrage, which was the Hiroshima and Nagasaki lines. And to be honest, I really wish he just learned his lesson on what it takes to live in a civil society, because he states he's going to Korea and China next. And all jokes aside, I know he watches a lot of videos that criticize him to try to form more content. But if you're listening now, please understand that there is no amount of internet fame that is worth becoming imprisoned in China as an outspoken foreigner from Somalia. But to everyone else, if you appreciate my concise, lighthearted commentary on what's really going on in the world, hopefully I've earned your subscription, then check out the video on these samurai cowboy cops that are taking back Southern California.
So the next video, the topic of the next segment of this show, and the final one is going to be titled "Keep Your Preference in Check, or Shaniqua will do it for you." Isn't that what the Passport Bros and Manosphere call dark-skinned Black women? Shaniqua. So we're gonna go roll into the next video, and we're gonna show you what happens when your preference falls out of line because you can't check her, and then Shaniqua have to do it to you. Roll the tape, DJ Torch.
Gotcha.
Wow.
Damn.
Oh my God.
Nah, yo, she's back from 6 donuts, man.
Holy moly.
We were afraid this would happen. All right. We've been trying to do what we can do here at Industry to stop the Karen virus from mutating. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been unsuccessful. I am saddened to inform you that the Karen virus has now gone to mutated stage 5. Karenicity runs deep in this one. Put up the picture. You see, that's called self-defense. The Karen was approaching the young woman aggressively. Naturally, she had to defend herself. But I must say this particular individual was able to walk away from the community. Nobody killed her. No police came to arrest her. According to the Post, she was violent and aggressive and still walked away basically unscathed, except for the 1-2 combo that she decided to bring upon herself, in my opinion. Sharon, this woman literally was yelling stupid N-word to everybody around her, loud as she could, being violent. What the hell is this? She was able to walk away, though. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are luck abound. She's very lucky, as you said, Doc. She's lucky Jocelyn from Love and Hip Hop was at the Floyd Gotti match. But she's very lucky here. And you're right, it's mutated, there's variants. If the world would focus its attention on this Karenicity, like it has other viruses, perhaps something could be done, but it's really, we're now really beyond, okay, we're not gonna get rid of this thing, we're just gonna live with it.
Yeah. We need more anti-Karens in the world. Welcome to Indisputable. I'm your host, Dr. Rashad Richard.
All right. Camo, that was the classic.
What was his name? The one who played in Tam Face? What was his name?
Who played in what? Oh,
Tam Face. The guy, the one Manosphere man, that was setting out his rules for Black women who was overweight and unqualified to be with the kings.
Oh, what was this? Well, there's so many of them. Do you mean the BBD dude who was wearing the
BBD, whatever his name is.
DDS
This is for Tam. This is for all the Shaniquas, all the Tashas, all my badass dark skinned sisters out there with the 4C hair. That's always bad. They don't gotta wear no makeup because their skin just glisten all the time.
I hear
that there is no competition for ever. The only submissive women in the world, because we are the only women in the world that do not go outside of our community as much as any other women and allow other men to run through us in our own community, bringing them in our community in front of our men. Those women. So this was for you.
Amen to that. So should we run through last words?
Whatever you want. Like you can have people come up and question and talk, whatever you want to do. But I did my part. You know, I hope I did these young ladies justice. You know, these
At
most
least,
educated. You know,
everybody in the chat. Everybody in the chat, if you thought Camo was fire, put a fire icon, please. Put a fire emoji or anything, fire or a heart. Show some love. I thought she did amazing. Camo, you knocked that out the park. If somebody else would like to come up, I'll wait about 1 minute. Welcome, Creative.
Welcome in. Good night, everyone.
Let me send a quick shout out to all the Asian men who, you know, who also have to deal with the most treasonous women in the world that don't support you even though you gave them everything. Like this is also for you too. We feel your pain. We deal with the treason as well.
So Creative, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I thought the show was really good. It shows a different perspective. I really like the part with the guy who was shooting videos in Japan, and the local citizens they was not okay with it, and so I was like, yes, finally some drawback. But yeah, this show is good, and it just show how some people are just entitled for no apparent reason. They think themselves so high. They need to just be knocked down a couple of levels back to reality.
Well said. 3D, how about you? Do you have any last thoughts?
Nah, just thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
3D, thank you for coming to the stage. Your presence is always well appreciated. Your commentary is excellent.
All right, man. See you next time.
Darnell, how about you?
I just wanted to say, so like I said earlier, I do disagree with the stats that were given earlier, about black men impregnating white women and creating.
I tell you what, Darnell, how about this? We can make it. We'll do another live. We'll do a live on it. How about that?
It sounds good to me, sir. Sounds good to me. And also, DJ George, I just I take it for what it's worth, but I just wanted to extend you, an apology, about what Faithful Man was saying and stuff like that. And I'm not trying to start no drama or nothing. I just wanted to give you an apology. It isn't right.
I appreciate your kind words.
Yes, sir. And that's all I wanted to say.
All right, everybody. Here we go.
I got one more thing to say. Like, this is my last dedication. So I'm going to dedicate this to my mother. She passed away last year. She was 80 years old. She was a dark-skinned woman. She was beautiful. She was one of the most feminine women that I ever knew. She had so much class and so much poise, and she made me into the strong woman that I am today. So I hope that she see me and that she know that I will continue to represent her. This is for my mom too.
Camo, that was perfect. Oh, Camo, do you have a Cash App?
I got a Cash App, but I'm cool. I also got a husband that is always a Cash App and an ATM and a black card and everything. So take that money, ladies, and whatever you was going to do for me, take that money and do something for yourself. Go get your nails done. Go get a nice wax. Go get a nice massage. Like, do your thing.
Excellent. Well said.
Money work. El mundo quiere dinero.
All right, I'd like to thank so many of you for coming through.
Money work.
Camo, you were a superstar tonight. You knocked it out the box, I'm telling you.
Money work. Si me quiero educar, dormir en algún lugar. Un lugar para trabajar. Y si no hay para emigrar, todo money, todo
Emily Moon in the house, Henry Mars in the house, you can't get laid in the house, Other Mel in the house.
Si tienen lo verde siempre llegará primero, pero llegaremos antes o después. Solo a lo suyo, lo que Dios te la ve, que por más que tarde lo veré caer. Somos malos buenos y tenemos dinero, ya lo veré. Yo vendo mi alma, lo lograré. Seré el más grande, no olvidaré.
Oh
de dónde vengo ni cómo fue. Money work.
Sudden Bell in the
El mundo
house.
quiere dinero.
Columbus Hill.
Money
Bhutan. Madison Goldman.
Se arregla con dinero. Con dinero. Money work. Yo digo las cosas como son. No quiero ninguna aceptación. Tampoco vengo a pedir perdón porque mis sentimientos se volvieron la canción. Yeah. No me vale mucho como tú me ves. Sabes, tú me llegas solo a los pies. Para mí ser grande es un interés. Ser un buen humano para mí es un deber. El dinero ya lo veré. No vendo mi alma, lo lograré. Seré el más grande, no olvidaré. De donde vengo ni cómo fue.
Under pressure.
Money work.
Pumps in the bomb.
El mundo
In
quiere
the
dinero.
house.
Money work. Se arregla con dinero. Money work, corazón, de corazón. La plata no te hace ser feliz. Yeah, de corazón, de corazón. Yeah. Plata no te hace ser feliz.
Break it down, break it down.
Money work. El mundo quiere dinero. Yeah, 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 yeah. Money work. Money work. Money work. Money work. Se arregla con dinero.
Thanks again, everybody, for coming through.